Evening, everyone. I'm Marjorie Nathanson, the Executive Director, Hunterdon Art Museum. Thanks for joining us for our annual meeting. Really pleased that you're here. Tonight, you're going to hear from Erin Delgado, our Director of Development, Donna DeVille, our Director of Education and Community Engagement, the artist Kate Dodd, and myself. And we're going to start right now. Let me just say that if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. And at the end of the meeting, we'll address them. I'm going to turn this over to Erin. She unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight, but she did create a video for us. So here's Erin.
Hi, my name is Erin Delgado. I'm the Director of Development for the Hunterdon Art Museum. Fiscal year 2023 was all about our 70th year, or 70th anniversary. We had many celebratory events. Perhaps you attended one of our donor receptions, our membership reception. Maybe you came to a pop-up dinner or attended art party. I was glad to host these receptions and meet many of you. Our pop-up was our first partnership with Nourish to Heal, and Art Party was our first partnership with Cree Wine. These are all examples of different fundraising events that the Development Office and Hunterdon Art Museum do to raise funds for all that we offer at the Hunterdon Art Museum. Art Party is our biggest fundraising event, and the fiscal 23 gala was at Cree Wine. It was well attended, probably one of our most attended events, and we raised over 20,000, close to 25,000. Thank you for your support if you attended Art Party or any of our events. Other ways the Development Office raises money for the Hunterdon Art Museum is through grants. Grants raised about $165,000 in fiscal year 23. I'm happy to report we welcomed new funders, specifically the Leroy Neiman Foundation. With their support, we partnered with the Greater Newark Life Camp, and we brought art and art education to those campers there. We also welcome the Assel Alpaugh Family Foundation to our family of funders. With their support, we received funding for Artistic Expressions, a signature program HAM has offered for over 30 years. I also want to thank our consistent donors, most specifically the New Jersey State Council on the Arts, who provides terrific general operating support. Thank you to Najiska. The Development Office also works with individual donors. Thank you to all our donors, and this support comes from contributions made through memberships, through our annual appeal, or perhaps a major appeal contribution. Thank you to all these donors, all the variety of ways that you contribute to HAM. And I also wanted to highlight that in fiscal year 23, the annual appeal was wildly successful, raising close to $80,000. So again, thank you if you contribute to our annual appeal, most especially the one in 2023. Done a lot of thank yous because this role is about gratitude, and I want to end by thanking our Board of Trustees for all your support. You do help with events, to donations, to volunteering, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Erin. And now we're going to turn this over to our Director of Education and Community Engagement, Donna DeVille.
Hello, and thanks for attending this evening. I'm going to just go through all of our programs and events and give you just a brief information about each one of those. So I'll start with our studio school, which is the sort of major activity for the education department. The Hunterdon Art Museum offers hundreds of hands-on art making classes, workshops, and interactive programs throughout the year over 4 terms. In January 2023, we highlighted the artwork that our talented adult students and faculty created in our Studio Swoop classes in an exhibition in the third floor gallery. And then we also have a virtual student gallery page on the website. Additionally, HAM offers private lessons for students of all ages who are interested in one-on-one customized experience. Artist workshops, we really value reaching out to our local artist community. And last year, in collaboration with the Steamroller Group, we offered a free printmaking workshop to local artists in April. The artists made individual and collaborative prints and donated some of their prints to HAM to auction off to donors, making donations of $70 or more. And then the best of the prints were exhibited in the third floor gallery in July. Children's summer camp and adult summer programs. Our summer program runs from June through August. Last summer, adults had the opportunity to join instructor Lena Schiffman for a watercolor and plein air workshop under the tents, as well as a shorter drawing and painting class. For children ages 5 to 15, we offered art camps, which were our week-long immersions into a theme, medium, or skill. A summer art camp for last year started on the terrace under the tents, but moved inside after we responded to feedback from parents and teachers. And this summer it will be indoors. Mediums included painting, mixed media, fired ceramics, lino cut printing, and more. Instructors were encouraged to offer creative, fun, and fresh sessions. As a result, topics included Summer at the Circus, Gnomes and Fairies and Gems, and Pop into Pop Art. We also offered a very popular Raku ceramics session in collaboration with the Takeuzu Studio. And we offered 2 of those and they both sold out. And this summer's camps are going to be equally exciting. Then we also have our Young Artist Showcase program. Each year, YAS provides around 1,000 school children from Hunterdon County and surrounding areas the opportunity to exhibit their art in the third floor gallery of the museum. It runs from February through June, featuring the artwork of children from kindergarten through high school. And it's an opportunity for students to see themselves as artists and share their artwork with the community, and also bring their family and friends to see their artwork in an actual museum. Shows change every 2 weeks and are celebrated with an opening. And then we have our community art space Art Zone on the first floor. Art Zone is an interactive art space open during gallery hours that offers a rotating selection of free-form planned exhibition-related and seasonal projects. We have a feature artist wall, a community artist wall, and we often have event-specific projects in conjunction with either community events or collaborations with other museums like the Red Mill. Artline with the North Hunterdon Enrichment Consortium. Artline happens annually. It's a half-day cross-curricular visual arts enrichment program in which 6th grade students selected from several local schools in Hunterdon County meet and collaborate with their peers in hands-on group projects and tours. And it took place in December last year. Some partnerships that I would like to highlight from last year. We worked with this, in addition to working with the Steamroller Group for Print Jam, we partnered with Greater Newark Life Camp, as Erin mentioned, to provide fine arts camp classes to almost 200 students aged 6 to 14 on their 90-acre rural campus in Pottersville, New Jersey. So that was an off-site program. Some community events I'd like to highlight. We always host a sponsor a project in Art Zone during Clinton's Dickens Days. We had Halloween themed crafts on the terrace for Pumpkin Fest, and an ornament project for Maker's Day at the North Hunterdon Library. And we'll be involved in all of those events again this coming year. The scouting program that was on hiatus for a while due to COVID. And while it didn't run for most of the last fiscal year, it did restart in late 2023. Programs for individuals with disabilities, we've had our Artistic Expressions program running since 1990. And that is a class for adults and teens. It's an open studio, so it's self-directed, and it's for adults and teens with disabilities and neurodivergencies. And Artistic Expressions was on hold for a period after the long-term teacher stepped down, but we're happy to say that we brought it back in the summer of 2023 with new instructors, Mariah Mylod and Lacey Large, and it's still continuing today with another new instructor, Susan Kuan. Ham It Up is a free community event for people of all ages to enjoy a day of creativity at Ham and have free entry into the museum. Last year, we offered it under the tents on the terrace. And activities included character drawing, balloon animals, face painting, plein air sketching, and other craft making. And we also added a new component, which was an introduction to yoga session. And we're going to be offering that again this year with new crafts that relate directly to our current exhibitions. And lastly, museum tours. We continue to offer tours to school groups, senior centers, art groups, and we've had quite a few school groups. We had a homeschool group today and other kids groups throughout 2023, and we'll continue that. During their visit, participants learn about contemporary artists and techniques through our exhibitions. And here I have to send out a huge show of appreciation for our knowledgeable volunteer docent, Betty Perlman, whose willingness to lead tours is invaluable to the education department and to HAM. And that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Donna. A lot going on, so thanks a lot. I am now going to share my screen, so bear with me for a second. So, as you heard from Erin, during fiscal year 2023, Hunterdon Art Museum marked its 70th anniversary. This milestone was celebrated throughout the calendar year 2023, beginning with reception for donors and the opening of our winter exhibitions. The town of Clinton honored the museum with a proclamation read by Janice Kovach at the reception. As I noted at the start of the celebration, organizations do not continue for 70 years without the support of many, many people across several generations. And here you see some of the people who founded the museum. I would like to thank all of those who were involved with HAM over the decades in so many different capacities. Hunterdon Art Museum has always been a community effort. This year was no different. Still recovering from the upheavals of the pandemic, the staff worked diligently to create a year that brought robust programming to our audience. You've heard about our education program from Donna and our development activities from Erin, so I'll concentrate on our exhibitions program in this report. We opened a dozen exhibitions between July 2022 and June 2023. The year began with an exhibition of Rena Banerjee's work in our main gallery. Her work speaks to being uprooted and searching for identity. Deciphering her art is an act of exploration and transformation. She brings us into the world of the diaspora, where dreams of the future and the past, the imagined, the real, and the unknown share the same space. Also during the summer, Maxwell Mastardo, Dish-Oriented, occupied our first floor gallery. Max's unconventional approach to ceramics results in glorious colors, bubbled glazes, and anthropomorphic forms that created a dazzling array of sculptures throughout the gallery. Influenced by classical amphorae as well as modern ceramics and the eye-popping colors and shapes of contemporary life, Max's unique style was warmly appreciated by our visitors. We were proud to exhibit work from the museum's permanent collection of works on paper. The selected prints in this show were all gifts from Donald Tagliatella, Leslie Cruz, and World House Editions, who over the years have been exceedingly generous to the museum. Since its founding in the early 1950s, the museum has acquired prints, photographs, artist books, collages, and paintings on paper. While many of the works in the collection were purchased from the museum's long-running national print exhibition, gifts from generous artists, collectors, art dealers, and print publishers make up a substantial portion of the museum's holdings. During the fall, we were pleased to have a solo show of the work of Fran Shalom, which was curated by the independent curator, Mary Birmingham. Fran is a painter whose playful shapes and bright cartoony colors reveal a pop sensibility. Her elemental forms suggesting bodies or objects seem to advance and recede at the same time, creating a push and pull between foreground and background. Thread Hijack, also organized by Mary Birmingham, filled our second floor gallery from October to January. Including the work of 6 artists, the show highlighted thread as an art-making material that challenges the conventional boundaries of drawing, painting, collage, and printmaking. Continuing the theme of thread as art material, Amy Edelman created a site-specific installation in our River Gallery. A professor at the University of North Texas in Denton, Edelman has spent time studying historic and contemporary textile techniques in Africa, Europe, and South America. She thinks beyond the usual constraints of working with textiles and creates site-specific installations that change the way we perceive space. Louis Wexler of Wexler Gallery was the juror of our annual members exhibition, which highlights the diverse talents of Hunterdon Art Museum members. 31 artists were selected for the show. Alexander Popovic won the prize of a solo exhibition. Christine Sauerteig Pilar was awarded a monetary prize. In the winter, we opened 3 exhibitions. Christina Di Gennaro's stage drawings in the first floor gallery depicted the New Mexican desert floor. The artist stated that the serpentine forms in her drawings capture the transition from a state of growth to one of dissolution. She wrote, "I find these images of decay and decomposition to be filled with movement, pattern, grace, and beauty." Mary Birmingham curated the group show Portrait of the Artist, in which 7 artists provided us with intimate and innovative views of artistic identity. Often performing parallel roles as creators and subjects, they offered us a collective portrait of the artist. In the River Gallery, Tricia Zimick shared her detailed porcelain sculptures, Sins and Virtues, that use baboons to illustrate stories. Highly realistic, her work is influenced by Dutch and German painters and sculptors. Each year, the juror of Hampton's annual members exhibition selects an artist from that show who will be the subject of the following year's members highlight exhibition. In 2021, juror Kristen Owens, an associate curator of programs at Paul Robeson Galleries, Rutgers, Newark, chose Liz Mitchell. Liz is a multimedia artist who uses a broad range of materials and processes, including printmaking and collage, to tell her visual stories. Her paper boat project, featured in this exhibition, began in 2020 during the pandemic. Nona Hershey, In the Cloud, was our summer 2023 first floor gallery show. This exhibition focused on Hershey's beautifully rendered mixed media cloud paintings. Monica Ong, Planetaria, curated by Hildreth York, showcased Ong's visual poetry that leverages the visual language of astronomy to explore the precarious territories of motherhood, women in science, and diaspora identity. Her work seeks to rewrite the sky from a female perspective and examine the power struggles that myth-making elicits. Claybash, a triennial ceramics juried exhibition, took place in the main gallery. This exhibition was the first in a series of triennial shows that will present a wide range of contemporary ceramics by innovative artists who are bringing fresh ideas to the field. Jennifer Martin, Executive Director of the Clay Studio in Philadelphia, was the juror for this inaugural show. The series is in honor of Dr. Hildreth York, art historian, curator, and friend of Hunterdon Art Museum, for the many ways in which her involvement with HAM has made the organization stronger, and in particular for the significant impact her work has had on HAM's exhibitions program. Thank you, Hildy. To mark the occasion of the museum's 70th anniversary, our exhibition openings transitioned into block parties with music and refreshments. We also worked with the founders of the Steamroller groups, artists Susan Mania, Val Civilli, and Kazan Viviaros, to create Print Jam. And as Donna mentioned, artists were invited to participate in this day-long exploration of printmaking. The Steamroller Group provided instruction and exchange of ideas and information between artists, made the day enjoyable and productive. The approximately 20 artists who participated donated their prints to HAM to benefit the 70th anniversary, and the prints were exhibited in the summer. The Artist's Closet, a vintage clothing sale, was popular and terrifically successful. Thank you to Jocelyn Kapp-Manship for creating and managing this fundraiser, and to all who donated clothing. Once again, we held our annual Ham It Up, a community event that is open to all free of charge. Thank you to our main sponsor, Flavorganics, and also to Unity Bank and City Spot Tea and Coffee for supporting this worthwhile event that introduces hundreds of children to art making. For the second year, we brought Art Bar to the Terrace on Friday nights to accompany the Clinton Guild's Come Together Friday Night Music Series. Members and their friends were invited to listen to music, enjoy the view, visit our galleries, and relax. The Terrace was also home to Artful Sundays, where artists and artisans sold their work throughout the summer. Art Party and Auction was held in the lovely spaces of Cree Wine Company. We're grateful to our sponsors, the artists who donated their work to the auction, the volunteers who assisted us, and of course to HAM staff who worked so hard to make sure the evening was successful. During the year, we were pleased to welcome to our staff Donna DeVille, Kate Mahoney as education coordinator, and Frank Danzis as HAM's bookkeeper. In addition to those staff members previously mentioned, I'd like to thank Brian Carney, Ellen Marr, Mary Ellen O'Neill, and Mary O'Sullivan for the tremendous work they always do. The board also gained new members: Catherine Dugan, Megan Lazovic, Michael Pena, Kathleen Thompson, and Hilda York. They joined board president Tim Fraser, along with Kathy Ahart, Pamela Becker, Larry Del Rossi, Sue Haas, Jocelyn Kapp-Manship, Bill Miller, Ingrid Renard, and Kathy Schulz. My thanks to all of them. Our gratitude goes to the museum's 2023 funders, particularly, as Erin mentioned, the New Jersey State Council on the Arts and the Jody Nardodge Foundation, along with other foundations and the many individuals who support HAM. Our grants, annual appeal, and major donor programs did exceedingly well. Even so, with the recovery from the pandemic not complete and changes in some funding sources, the year ended with a small deficit, excluding depreciation. Throughout the FY23, there was much planning and discussion of HAM's future. During the year, we updated the museum's mission statement. The new version, Hunterdon Art Museum Educates, Challenges, and Inspires Community Through the Arts, reflects our plans for bringing people together. We look forward to programming that reaches many communities, brings new and familiar faces to HAM, and introduces our audience to art and ideas that excite them. So thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Kate Dodd, whose wonderful exhibition is currently on view in the museum's first floor gallery. Kate received her BFA from Pratt Institute and her MFA from Columbia University. She has exhibited her artwork nationally in museums, galleries, and colleges, and has been teaching art in public and private schools for 30 years. Kate has been awarded residencies at MacDowell, Rutgers Center for Innovative Print and Papermaking, Cummington Community for the Arts, the Vermont Studio School, and numerous schools in the tri-state area. It is my pleasure to introduce Kate. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, I'll start again. Thank you so much, Marjorie, and thank you, all of you, for everything that you do for the museum. I have to say, watching the presentations tonight, I feel even more deeply honored that I had a chance to exhibit at the Hunterdon Art Museum, and so far it's been a really wonderful experience, despite us having a little bit of a early interaction, I'll call it, with the river entering the museum uninvited. But we got over that. And what I'm going to do tonight is take you through a brief overview of my exhibit and talk a little bit about my process. And then I'm happy to entertain any questions. So I'm going to share my screen and let's see if I can get it to the right spot. Bear with me one moment while I figure this out. Let's see, I think I want this. All right, I'm hoping that right now everyone can see an image that says, includes the postcard from the show. It says Kate Dodd New Work and has an image on the left-hand side. We're all on board there?
We can, yep.
Okay, great. Okay, so I just was sampling the really nice postcard that the museum put together to announce my show. And in pulling together this exhibit, I came and visited the museum. I know the museum from having come many times and seen many wonderful shows there. But I came and met with Marjorie, and we went through the first floor gallery and looked at the space and discussed what might be possible, and agreed that it would be great to show new work that hadn't been shown previously in New Jersey as much as possible. And that also would be exciting to do a site-specific installation for the museum, because that is one of the things that I specialize in. And so I created this piece called Production Line. And it was inspired in part by the function of the museum as formerly being a grist mill. And I was fascinated, especially by the ceiling and all those beautiful beams and all of the curious openings in the ceiling where grain used to flow down for various purposes. And so thinking about the museum as a place that had produced a product and what that meant then, and what the nature of the product is, flour, versus a present day situation where a lot of the things that get produced are disposable or single use. And in this particular case, I decided to work with a huge supply of materials that I came across kind of serendipitously. Basically, a space that is for rent in my studio complex was abandoned by the former tenant. They were a beauty products company, and they left behind an unbelievable number of boxes of packaging. So not the beauty products themselves, but the packaging. And so this entire installation is made out of packaging they left behind. The primary types of packaging are lipstick tubes, which you can see here, and little mirrored compacts that would have held kind of facial tissues of some sort. And so my thinking in using them and thinking about the history of the museum was to show this other kind of production, as I said. And in this case, the production is in some ways a production of the self, of people trying to figure out how they want to produce themselves. And one of the ways that you do that is by applying all kinds of cosmetics. So over on the left-hand side of the screen, there was this kind of enclosure. I think of it a little bit like a dressing room, a fitting room, but also there's so many things now that if you go visit for entertainment, there's often a selfie opportunity. And so I thought of it as kind of that as well. And of course, because the entire thing is lined with mirrors, you can't possibly see yourself. I'm going to actually play you a video that gives you an overview of the piece, but I'll continue speaking as we take a look at it. So, oh, I forgot, this comes first. This some more details about the piece. Matter of fact, I will go back for a minute and just tell you that the materials that were used in this selfie opportunity then migrate and make their way across the ceiling, draping down through some of the former holes and things like that, and appear to pierce through the wall and into the lobby, where kind of the chaotic, out of control aspect of producing lots and lots of waste and lots of disposable packaging kind of goes wild in the lobby. So that's what you see over on the right-hand side. And here, just some close-ups of, I'll just work my way across the screen. There were lots and lots of nail files that were left behind too. So here you can see the kind of bramble-like forms that I've created in the lobby burst into flower, you could say, at their tips. Here, a sense of how kind of fully inhabited the ceiling was with all of this endless packaging. And then over here, when you get inside of the dressing room, there's a sense of it going on forever because the ceiling is also mirrored. You might be able to make out that some of these things are the spigots from little perfume bottles and that kind of thing. The outside of the dressing room is full of pattern and color that is part of this, the whole aesthetic of this company. And then as Donna was referencing, I took the liberty of taking a shot of kids working with the surplus materials that I donated to the museum last Saturday, where they were very busy creating all kinds of cool little things. And it was lots of fun to watch them come out of the art cave, each holding a little sculpture that they had made. I also noticed that as the kids went through the exhibit, and here I'll go ahead with the video. I'm gonna, I didn't provide any sound, but as kids come into the gallery, well, many of them are shepherded in by really thoughtful caregivers who ask them great questions, but the kids kind of can't help but run up to things and start to say what they see that they recognize. And one of the reasons that they recognize things is because so much of my practice is based on repurposing materials. So they immediately recognize certain things, and then that's a way into the work for them because they get curious about why it's being used in the way that it's being used. So while the installation provides lots of looking at all of these discarded, very kind of flashy, semi-elegant types of materials, some of the other materials are coming from quite different sources. I'll just move on here to, whoops, that didn't, let's see if I can make that work. There we go. So the other portion of the exhibit, aside from the installation, was a lot of the work that I've made. Often I've been repurposing books, and specifically of late, I've been working with what you may be familiar with from your childhood, depending on your age, the series of Golden Books children's encyclopedias. And I've gotten quite fascinated by them for several different reasons. One is the quality of the illustrations, but even more is the nature of the message that runs through all of those books. And the message is one of, the world is an amazing place. It's full of all of these resources. Here's how they can be valuable and can be extracted and be put to use to essentially power the economy and make money. And so I became kind of interested in that message happening at this particular time in the world, where to go about pursuing resources and using them up without thinking about what's going to happen is one of the ways we found ourselves in the predicament that we're currently in. So here are just a few shots of some of the pieces. This one from the postcard, Words Have Weight. Then this one is called Nest. Up here we have Decoy. I'll show you a few close-ups. Here we have a piece called Coming Soon, and down here, Picked Over. So to give you a little bit better sense of these things, the piece coming soon is really about the idea that eventually climate change will affect all of us. In this particular piece, it's portrayed as flooding, and this plane that is suspended above the ground level is made of cut up maps from these encyclopedias. And then each of these towers has a different kind of either residence or factory or cottage or et cetera, each at different heights, with the backs of them covered with images from the ocean imagery, often of islands that eventually are going to be swallowed up by the ocean. But we joked, Marjorie and I, when we were installing this, that maybe the title shouldn't have been coming soon. Maybe it should have been already came. That was how we got, we used humor to get through the flooding incident. Here's some more details just to give you a sense of what the illustrations in the books are like, and how I've gone about using them. I've had a lot of fun with creating kind of something in between 2 and 3 dimensions by taking images and framing them with text. And this particular detail here is from the piece Picked Over, where you probably recognize what these are, dental picks. And they seemed like the appropriate way to show how completely extracted the world is. There are some mining symbols here. And then in addition to the works made from the children's encyclopedias, I have a series of works I call outerwear. All of them are allude to or are objects that could be worn, and it could be worn as some sort of protection. And they all are made of things that then kind of turn that idea of protection on its head. So for instance, the piece up here in the upper left-hand corner is titled Icarus. And like the myth where Icarus tries to kind of take on too much and falls to the ocean below, I was thinking about the idea of collecting specimens, specifically butterflies in this case. I took a butterfly encyclopedia, cut out every single butterfly, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Here you can see some details. And then reattach them so that all of the wings were trapped by being attached to other wings so that none of them could fly, kind of with the idea that this desire to kind of have and absorb all of these different species ultimately ends up with kind of the loss of the species. And here, another detail, you saw this in the beginning of the presentation tonight. This piece is called Parental Poncho, and kind of a poncho as the idea of something that can cover you and protect you. The reason it's called parental is because these are all CAT scans from my parents. And so the idea of, can your parents really protect you? Do your genes protect you? You know, what is it that you inherit that might protect you? And in this case, in some ways, it's clear that it can't possibly protect you. So that gives you some idea of what the exhibit is like. If you haven't come, I hope that you will get to sometime soon. And I just want to say again how happy I was to be part of the programming this year. And it was just a real pleasure to work with all of the volunteers, and with Ellen and with Marjorie and Brian. And so I just am really, really happy that I got to be a part of this. Thank you.
Oh, Kate, thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful presentation.
My pleasure.
Well, really appreciate it, and really appreciate the way you work. And for those who don't know, we had promised Kate 2 weeks to install, and then we were flooded, and she ended up having 4 days to install, maybe not even 4 days. And she was just so great about that, and was at the museum from morning till quite late at night. And so thank you, but what a wonderful presentation. I don't see any questions or comments in chat. So I think that does it for this meeting. I do appreciate everybody who joined us. Thank you so much. And also to just let you know that there is a written version of the annual report that can be obtained through our website. So if you'd like to take a look at that, please do. So thank you, and hope everybody has a terrific evening. Good night.